Hey there, welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of May 15th. This week is all about purpose and pleasure. So you'll have opportunities this week to move towards what it is that you find really pleasurable and joyful and just what brings you a sense of enjoyment. And you'll have opportunities to align with your values so that your pleasure becomes purposeful, so that everything aligns in that way very beautifully. My name is Shauna McGrath. I am an astrologer and a women's coach. And I'm excited to share with you the astrology of this week, and then I have 3 tips for you to harness this energy. So the most important aspect that's happening this week is that we have Venus opposing Jupiter. And so Venus is the planet of love, beauty, money, sex, and just things that we enjoy, things that we find pleasurable. Venus in Aries is going to exactly oppose Jupiter. Jupiter is the planet that expands things. It brings a certain sense of optimism and joy as well. But the key to Jupiter is that it does expand. It magnifies whatever it touches. Jupiter is in Libra, Venus is in Aries. And so when this combination happens, it can mean a few different things. It can lend itself to expanding what it is that is already pleasurable in your life, or it can lead to you or reflect you feeling like you want to seek out more pleasure for yourself, especially with Venus being in the sign of Aries. Venus in Aries is more self-oriented, so can be healthy if you need that. The downside, the shadow side of this energy is overindulgence, doing too much. And this can be anything from indulging in food, indulging in relationships, buying things that you don't need, or just being overly selfish, to be frank, because it is Venus in Aries. So I would just notice those tendencies for yourself. And at the same time, it is important this week to seek an outlet for pleasure, to give to yourself what it is that you need. The only caveat is to just do that in conscious ways, so that you're seeking it out in a way that's healthy and not detrimental. And so that brings us to the other aspect that's happening this week, is that we have the last quarter moon in Aquarius, and that's on Thursday the 18th. So the last quarter moon is a time of getting closure before the following new moon cycle that will happen next week. So we've been going through this lunar cycle of Taurus. We're in the Taurus cycle of the year. So Taurus is all about values and money and worth. And with the last quarter moon being in the sign of Aquarius, Aquarius wants to know, okay, what's the greater vision? What's the greater purpose for all of these things? So it's great this week to do something that you love, but that also moves towards your grander schemes for yourself, moves toward what it is that you want in the long term for yourself. Aquarius is about long-term vision, and it's also about doing things not so selfishly. It's about doing things that also help other people as well. So you know what is right for you, you know what will bring you joy and what will align with your values. But that's going to be the theme this week. We also have the sun moving from Taurus into Gemini, and so this is a focus more from Taurus themes, which are about money and worth and value, over to Gemini, which is about sharing ideas and connection. And so this week is really a time of clarifying values. It's a time of course, enjoying yourself, but also making that meaningful. And there's like this really cool dynamic that happens when we do that, when there is meaning from what it is that we get joy, and then we get more joy, and so it's this cool cycle. So 3 tips for you this week to really make the most of this energy. The first tip, naturally, is to be very clear on your values. To be clear on what it is that you want for yourself moving forward, what it is that adds to your life, and what it is that detracts. So that's the biggest thing that you could do for yourself this week that sets you up for success, especially if you are prone to overindulgence. If you know beforehand and are very clear on what it is that is beneficial, even if it's a little bit overindulgent, versus detrimental to where it is that you're going. So that's tip number 1, to be clear on your values. And tip number 2 is to actively seek pleasure that aligns with those values. So this week is not a week to deny yourself. It's not a week to even, go on a diet or to restrict yourself. It's a week to really give yourself what it is that brings you joy, but to do that in a way that aligns. So if there's something that you've been wanting to do, schedule the appointment. If you've been wanting like a massage or a facial, or to buy yourself a new outfit, or to do something really sweet and special for yourself, be proactive with that this week. Set it up. Do it. Tip number 3 is to be generous with others this week. And that I think is important because Venus is in the sign of Aries. And Aries is self-oriented, which is important, but with Jupiter magnifying and expanding this energy, it can lend to self-focus. So I just want you to muse on that also, like what are ways in which you can be generous with others as well. So always, of course, important to take care of yourself first, but then what can you give also? Even if it's just your time, even if it's just your attention and your presence. Sometimes that's the most valuable thing of all. So those are your 3 tips. That's your horoscope for the week. I hope you enjoyed this. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with a friend. And if you want to talk to me about your personal natal chart, if you want to get more clarity on something that you're going through that's a little more specific, let me know. We can do a reading. You can find more on that on my website, neofeminine.com. I'm wishing you a lovely week, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.